We're not looking for happiness. We want peace. When you find peace, you know that there is something inside you that can't be moved or shaken, no matter what is going on around you. You've found a place in your mind where you can go to feel like nothing is changing, no matter what is going on around you, because you've found something about yourself that nothing can be added to, because it's already complete, and nothing can be taken away, because there's nothing you can lose. It's a very deep feeling of knowing that nothing bad can happen. Peace means that there is something stable about you, even if everything around you seems to be changing. If you can access that, if you can center yourself, if you can calm yourself, that means stop the movement, and you will find peace when you start to really look inside yourself, to figure out who you are and what makes you unique, rather than just looking at what you've studied or what your job or title is. None of that makes sense. What ideals do you hold dear? Take a moment to look at your life and ask yourself, who am I? What are my values? It's my body, mind, emotions, or something else. So we have these 5 areas already, and each of these 5 areas again. My state of mind, your state of mind 24 hours. Write down what's on your mind and what you want to talk about. What's on your mind when you think about music? What changed so quickly that you were in a different state in the afternoon after being in that first state all morning? Slowly, you start to see connections between things. For example, if you sleep 8 hours a day, you still have 16 hours to do something. If you spend 10 hours of these 16 hours thinking about how great things were a few days ago, it's stopping you from using those 10 hours to start doing something now or making plans for something you want to do later. This is such a simple example that I stopped looking for the word fulfillment of happiness because it might not exist. It might just be a word for another idea we have about what we think we need to achieve in some way. Let's say this happiness. No matter what it is, it means that something is changing. Happiness, joy, like that high feeling. Something is moving. There is movement in any direction. Wherever there is movement, there is always counter-movement. It's that picture. If you tap on a lake or ocean that is still, you will make up and down ripples. If you don't want ripples, you can't touch it. In the same way, if you think happiness is something that is rising, then sooner or later, you will feel its opposite force, which is falling. Something along the way to mastery, you walk the way alone. But self-mastery, mastering something, is always about yourself. And if you want to master yourself well, you're going to challenge and face yourself. And this is happening alone. If this room is completely dark, I am alone. Even if somewhere behind there, I see a spark of light. I see a spark of hope which is behind there. Yeah, but for me experiencing here, there is still a gap of darkness between me and the spark of hope. So around me, for me, it's dark, and I don't have anybody left and right from me to build yourself up, to have a certain amount of, let's say, responsibility for yourself. This is why I'm emphasizing all the time in all of these years to make yourself strong. Make yourself strong. We all want peace, but here in our place, we not just want to have peace and strong, this combination. I prefer better in a cycle of life, where everybody, if you're just a little aware, you can feel something is shifting. Some people are not willing to maybe adapt to the change. Some people are not strong enough to adapt to the change. Some people don't know how to put it into practice in order to go with the change. And now comes the time, what is about you, not about what other people expect from you. Now you have it, it's up to you to cultivate it. Yes. And that one gives insight, because now the mind is free to discover many, many things that go on inside of. They're this principle of you think a lot about what needs to be done, then it is being replaced, and the mind is free. Now, we apply this to life itself. This is the reason why, when you wake up and think too much about what to do today, you don't even reach the state of being able to immerse yourself into your daily life. Because you're still figuring out 24 hours a day what to do. You're still thinking about your life. Yeah. But thinking is something different than experiencing, than sensing, than feeling life itself. This is why all these methods. Now stop thinking. Train your mind to stop thinking too much and to meditate. Don't think about the past or the future. Being in the present moment is important because that's the only time your mind and abilities are free. Then you can fully focus on what you're doing, which means you've arrived. No matter what country or culture you're from, your whole life is based on the choices you make. Some people make bad choices that have consequences, while others may make better choices that have different consequences. In the end, it comes down to choices. But why? When people are in the same situation, they don't always act or decide the same way. This is because one of them has more or less access to information and experience than the other. This is why all of this academic learning and real learning is important. All of this is meant to give you a wide range of options, which we believe are very helpful in this life, and not just as a martial artist. This is kind of like one of the main points. The more options you have, the better. We shouldn't say anything about everything I say, because nothing is good or bad. What everything has is an effect. This is the way. When I look out into the world and see what people are doing, saying and talking about, what I'm looking for is what's going to happen as a result. It's not my job to say what's good and bad and how things should be. It's not in my power to do so. I want to spread all of these ideas because I think that everyone has a place where they can express themselves in a certain way. It's up to you to decide what you want to say about yourself and how you want to contribute to the world with that expression. There may be consequences for you, but there may also be consequences for the people around you, such as your family or the people you spend time with every day. This is what it means to bring out the potential of someone, which is the potential to express yourself. If you don't realize your potential and what you can and can't do, other people will tell you and put you in the category they think you would be useful for. I don't think that's why you're living this life. I think that each of us has the right to express ourselves in a way that doesn't hurt other people. In this way, people have the same problems in every country, no matter what culture or nation they come from. Some things are just part of being human. At the same time, I know that some cultures and nations are deeply rooted in the way they were raised, which means they have a very specific way of seeing the world. Other parts of the world have different ways of looking at the same problem. Everyone is looking for a way to solve their problems, and sometimes there is more than one answer. Sometimes the person is the answer and the solution. I've learned that the more you shine, the more shadows you cast. That's the price for all of this. The more you go out, the more you are exposed. The more you stay quiet, the more alone you are. That's just the way it is. What is a mistake? What is a mistake? People can't live a lifetime without making things that go right the first time they do them. In other words, no matter what field you're in, everyone will do something that goes wrong. But after the first time it went wrong, now the question is how you're going to keep going if you start to be smart. You're watching what's going on. Why did you get it wrong? What went wrong? It seems like you didn't learn anything if you make the same mistake the second time around in the same situation. Confucius says that this is making something wrong the first time, which is not a mistake. You have a chance to fix it, but you keep getting the same thing wrong because you don't want to learn from your mistakes. It's not a mistake that something goes wrong the first time. It's a mistake that you don't learn from it. If you don't pay attention to the situation, get the information you need to make things better next time. If this isn't your trial and isn't what you want, then it was a mistake. Everyone talks about letting go of the self and the illusion of the ego. For example, do something that isn't for your benefit. Spend a few hours, a few days a week, once a month, and do something that helps other people. This is what I think is a practical way to live. How that shame that some people still feel today can be lessened before you take. Now is the time to give. And when things are back in balance, you can go in a different direction. But before anyone goes on, this balance will come sooner or later. The question is whether you will have to reset or whether you can look at yourself, see where you are, and start from there to take straight control of your balance. What doesn't work right?